She say, do you love me? I tell her only partly. I only love my bed and my mom. I'm sorry. 50 dub, I even got it.
Ain't that some shit? It was a Drake kind of morning, so I figured that is how we would start off. Hello everyone. Better late than never, I suppose. It is Wednesday. We're here. It's Sexual Wednesday, and I'm back for episode 4 of Coffee with Cass. Got my coffee, switching it up today with a hot coffee. Ooh. Also, I'm going to yoga with my mom later, so I have some breakfast to get me going. And hello, how are you guys? It's been over a week, so I figured, why not? Let's just get right into it. Last week I promised that I would do a questions video, and it was an interesting, to say the least, mix of questions. I think I expected a lot more from Instagram because I have, this is gonna sound like I'm such a bigger deal than I actually am, but I feel like I have the most following on Instagram, and I also post there the most because, as you all know, I broke up with Snapchat, RIP. My relationship with Snapchat. So basically all I have now are Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And Twitter is like just like random thoughts I have. It's not really anything like that I keep up with a ton. I don't have very much of a following, if anything, like, but I also don't invest very much time into it. Whereas like Instagram, I try to post pretty regularly. It's not like, I'm not an Instagram model by any means, but it's there. And then Facebook is just like what I use to keep up with friends from high school, and that's, yeah, I don't really keep up with it much. So, let's go ahead and get right into this. I'm home now, fun fact, staying at my parents' house. That's why you see this lovely backdrop here that is not my usual apartment. And this robe, can I just have a moment? Like, this is the most comfortable robe I've ever worn in my entire life, and I basically live in it when I'm home, so if you don't like it, fuck you. Sorry, Emilio, I know my sister shows these to my nephew, but this robe is comfortable, and so I'm gonna wear it because it's my channel, my videos, so I'm gonna do what I want. but yeah, so that's what we're doing. Let me just take a quick bite here. Never known my ears did. I think it would be comfortable eating on camera, but it's actually not that bad. So, the first question we have here is my only question from Instagram, and it's definitely somebody who clearly does not watch my videos, because if you did, you would know the answer to this question from last week's video, and it is, how do you like your coffee? Now, long story short, as I said last week, I generally stick to iced coffee, and then I use some sort of a little bit of a sweetener and a Silk creamer. Not sponsored. But Silk does make, arguably, I think, the best non-dairy creamer, and so for me, I really like that, and I'll alternate between agave and maple syrup to sweeten my coffee. In particular, I cited that pumpkin spice coffee, like, not the, like, pumpkin spice syrup that's, like, loaded with sugar and, like, flavor stuff. Like, the flavored coffee that Dunkin' Donut it's my favorite coffee, how can I not say it? The pumpkin spice, like, the coffee that Dunkin' Donuts sells in the fall. If you get that and just brew it, it's great hot or iced, but if you sweeten it with a little bit of maple syrup and that Silk creamer, girl, my white girl heart just goes pitter-patter. And I think it's really great, but if you're not into non-dairy creamer, then just get the pumpkin spice creamer from Coffee Mate. Like, there's other ways to do it. So yeah, long story long, that's how I take my coffee. But yeah, usually if you're gonna buy me coffee, iced is the way to go, and then some sort of little bit of sweet. Sometimes still I will go full on black iced if I'm feeling real ballsy. Here's the interesting thing though. I don't really care for hot black coffee. 2 years ago, I used to try to get myself into it because I thought it was not necessarily healthier, but I would always try to have a hot black coffee before the gym, and I would also take my vitamins, which, fun fact for me, like, taking vitamins without eating makes me extremely nauseous, and so I would like have to stop halfway through my workouts and just like leave the gym because I was so nauseous and I didn't want to like pass out. But yeah, black hot coffee, not that great. Black iced coffee, it's kind of like I had to train myself to like black iced tea, so I feel like I can kind of get back to that, but that's generally my preference, and I hope I answered it as clearly as possible, but, you know. Next question is from Tritty. Hi, Tritty. We've never met in person, but Stefan is our mutual friend from college, and that's our connection. Says, why do you comment with random shit on statuses and the like? And to answer your question, I think a lot of random things, and so what happens is I'll be scrolling through Facebook or anything really, and if I think something's funny or weird to say, I will say it. So yeah, like so many of the comments I make are just like silly things that I think are funny. So I just like to lighten the mood. So that's why I do that. And I'm sorry if it bothers you, but I'm just trying to be the class clown over here since 2012. Also, backtrack. This is plain Dunkin' Donuts coffee with maple syrup and the silk creamer. So, staying true to what I know today. Cassie says, show us your butt. That's not a question, but if you want to see it, you can find my Instagram handle. It's in the description below, as well as if you go to CGOR_94, you'll find me there, and you can see my butt. Let's see what we got here. Tim asks, what's the worst thing you've seen on television? Now, here's the thing. I watch quite a bit of television, and mostly I watch Food Network because, I don't know, I just like watching food and coming up with recipes from other people's recipes to fit more of what I eat. I want to answer this question seriously, but I also kind of want to say, like, if you've seen anything that I am in the background in, that's probably the worst thing, but I don't want to, like, shame any of the shows that I've been on. Because when I first moved back to Los Angeles, or well, when I first moved to Los Angeles in 2015, I was a background actor. You need to not bark, because it's not going to fly. Sorry, I have my little woofer sleeping in here, and trying to get some peace and quiet so I can just do this, but we'll see how long this lasts. Anyway, I don't know. I kind of feel like the worst thing I've seen, it's not like any like one show. It's probably just like different things. Like I know a lot of people are like freaking out about Fergie when she did the national anthem. I don't think that was, I think let's just say she's taken some artistic liberties, if you will. But I would have to give it a lot more thought. I don't know why I can't like come up with anything on the fly. I was really disappointed in the finale of How I Met Your Mother. Just because the whole show was like, oh, like, Ted and Robin can be friends and they don't have to, you know, like, be in a relationship with each other. And then, spoiler alert, they end up getting together after the real mother, who also, she only got, like, one season of airtime, and, like, the whole show is supposed to be about, like, how Ted met her. So, like, I could go off into a whole rant about How I Met Your Mother and how the ending was just, like, infuriating to me, but I don't want to waste anyone's time. And it's too deep. Don't want to go there. And your real question is, did you really mean what you told me Super Bowl night? And that definitely, I will say, I do mean the things that I say. The Super Bowl was very tough on me this year. I'm a diehard Patriots fan, so I was definitely in a place after the Super Bowl. It was very upsetting. I don't want to talk about it because I'm going to get emotional. But also, I think in regards to what I said, I don't want to get like too into it. But I think as a person, what I've learned in my adult life is that it's okay to own up to mistakes that you've made and to apologize no matter how much time has passed or whatever. And so for me, I think also to that point, there is definitely someone for everybody. And I think it takes a lot of trial and error to find your person. I certainly went through quite a few, well, not quite a, I didn't go through quite a few people. I'm just saying it took me a very long time to get to a place where I found what I was looking for and knew what I wanted out of another person, out of myself. And so that definitely takes time to figure out. So I think it's okay to own up to your mistakes and to apologize for things that you've done in the past. And B, keep your head up, because there is, without getting like super sappy and cheesy, there's someone out there for everyone. And it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of you figuring out what you want from yourself, what you want from another person, what your ideas for life are. But you'll get there. Everyone will get there. Just relax, take a deep breath, grab a coffee. You'll get there eventually. So I hope I answered your questions to the best of my abilities. I get really rambly sometimes, so the last question is going to take the longest time to answer, so if you don't want to listen to me anymore, totally get it. But this question is in regards to my diet. And so the question is from Dario. He says, explain the diet you used when you went from fatty to hot. Explain the diet you used when you went from fatty to hottie. First of all, I agree with Cassie. Rude. I did used to be pretty overweight. I don't know if y'all know this, but I'm only 5 feet tall. And I, at my peak, was like, I want to say 185. There was definitely a point in college that I had gained so much weight that I was scared to weigh myself. And so when I finally did, I think I was at 182. And I had been kind of like cutting back, and so I feel like that was probably my peak, but I'll never really know for sure because I was too anxious and nervous to actually step on a scale and see the number for myself. Now, here's what I will say as a disclaimer. I am not a nutritionist or a dietitian by any means. This is just what worked for me personally. I think there were 2 different points in my life that I lost a lot of weight. There was actually one back in high school, but I got my tonsils taken out, so that's like, I was only able to eat Powerade for like 2 weeks, so that's not necessarily, I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, you should just have 2 sips of Powerade a day for 2 weeks and you'll lose 15 pounds. Like, that totally doesn't matter. So the first time I lost weight was, I had like gone up a lot my freshman year of college, and then from my, sophomore to senior year, because I was a year ahead in college, so I only was there for 3 years, I lost a little bit of weight, and I would get asked all the time, like, how did you lose the weight? What are you doing? And that was purely just me not having the money to buy food to actually eat, which I do not recommend. Please, if you can't afford to eat regularly, do. That was a very unhealthy way for me to lose weight, but it was the situation I was in at the time. Now, fast forward to about 2 years ago, I want to say, I moved to California, which is where I live now, and started really just like changing my diet completely. I think it's very easy in LA, especially because there's so many like health conscious people and healthy options that it made the transition for me very easy. The number one thing I will say that you can do if you're looking to lose weight is try really examining how much sugar you're eating, because that for me was so much of the problem. Like, I remember in college, I also used to work at Dunkin' Donuts, so I think we can see where the thirst train began. But when I worked there, every single day when I would leave, I would get a large iced tea and put 8 Splendas in it, and I can't even put 1 in, which I don't eat Splenda anymore either. But just looking back, I'm like, that's so much like artificial sweetener, and like everything I used to eat was like pure sugar. So number 1 tip, cut down on the sugar. That's gonna be half of your problem. The second thing I really learned is a lot of like portion control. That definitely helps. I think if you are someone who eats anything like meat, animal products, whatever, portion control will definitely help you out. I've heard that cutting carbs works, but I love me some bread and potatoes, so I'm not going to say that it does, but it just depends. You just have to do what feels right for your body. And so for me now, I actually learned recently I'm a flexitarian. And basically what that means is, hi! The little woofer just woke up. So what that means is I fluctuate between vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian. Extremely, extremely rarely, meaning like maybe Thanksgiving and one other day a year, I might have some like turkey or something like that. But it is extremely rare that I eat that. That's my personal choice. I'm not saying anyone else has to do it. That's just what works for me. It makes me feel like I'm operating at my best, I guess. And if you are looking to transition into a more vegan vegetarian lifestyle, there, at least in California where I live, there are a ton of meat alternatives. The Beyond Burger, I'm not sponsored by them, but I absolutely love them. I heard about them. I think someone told me they sell them at Whole Foods a couple years ago, and I've been eating them. They taste basically like a regular burger, but I know some people like don't care about the burgery like taste and substance. They're just more like into like vegetable substitutes. So just do whatever works for you. But that's really what helped me, was cutting out the sugar. I don't know that cutting meat was necessarily the biggest thing, but it definitely helped. At my lowest, I was at 135. I've gained a little bit of weight now because I just got off of working in an office for several months and I wasn't as good with my gym regimen. But that also is something that's super helpful, is that I was hitting the gym 6 days a week for 45 minutes to an hour, and I alternate between one cardio day and one strength training day. And so that's what worked for me, but you just gotta kind of stick with it and figure out what works for you. And to anyone who's like on that kind of journey, just keep going with it. It's gonna suck at first. Like, if it were up to me, I would just eat whatever and not care. But like, I've had such a complicated relationship with food just from my own personal anxieties and attitude towards it, that it's taken me a really long time to get to a place where I feel okay, like I need to eat for nutrition. And I think that also was a big thing, was that instead of looking at food as like, I don't want to say my enemy, but I definitely had a bad relationship with food, and now I can see it as, oh, like food is nutrition. I need this to be able to function and live. So yeah, that is the diet I use. I definitely don't consider myself a hottie. If you see this, I washed my face for y'all today, so there's that. But I still see myself as a potato most of the time, and that's okay. You know, I try to be as body positive as possible, and that's also helped. You know, it takes time, and for me, that's the way I did it. And yeah, I'm still just chugging along over here on my health journey. So, we're at 18 minutes now, and I think I'm breaking up into 2 files on my camera. Ooh. So I hope I answered your guys' questions. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted questions to me. I hope I answered them in the most clear and concise way that I can. I'm very sorry if this was way too long, but I just wanted to make sure that I got to everybody. So this coming Saturday, I will actually be home, and so I'll be doing coffee with Cass in my own apartment, and then, yeah, we'll just kind of go from there. I'm gonna finish my coffee and enjoy the rest of my vacation. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Bye! Wanna come say hello? Come here. Say bye, bitches.